Hello, my dear Aries. If you're hearing these words right now, it's not a coincidence. There are moments in life when the universe asks us to pause, just long enough to listen to something important. Something is shifting in your energy. Two events are moving toward you. One will lift you higher than you've ever been, and the other will touch your heart in a way you can't ignore. This isn't random. It's a calling. A sacred moment when your soul is being gently whispered by name. My dear Aries, sometimes the turning points in life don't arrive with thunder, but with the gentlest breeze, a quiet shift in your gaze, in your breath, in that subtle feeling that something is about to happen. Today is one of those days. A day when time seems to slow down, just enough for you to hear destiny whisper your name softly, yet deep enough to stir your soul. Two powerful currents are moving toward you. One will lift you higher, opening the doors of freedom, expansion, and renewed faith. The other will touch the most tender part of your heart, the place where old wounds still tremble, where memories you thought were gone are quietly asking to be seen. There is nothing wrong with being afraid. There is nothing wrong with trembling before the unknown, because in that very moment, your soul is awakening. Destiny is not what we're given, it's how we walk through the moments that change us forever. The universe is sending you an invitation, not a test, a reminder that within you lies a strength you haven't yet touched. When you choose to face the pain instead of running from it, you unlock the gate to miracles. Because sometimes, light only finds its way in, when you are brave enough to stand still in the dark and believe that dawn will come. If you feel tired now, torn between staying and moving on, pause. Place your hand over your heart. Feel that rhythm, the heartbeat of a soul that still believes in goodness. Even after all it's endured. And you know, only those brave enough to listen to that call ever witness the miracle walking toward them. None of us are ever truly ready for days of destiny. They arrive when we're busy living, worrying, proving we're fine. But it's in that very surprise that the universe whispers, it's time to change. It's time to live differently. And when you hear that whisper, even if it's just a faint glimmer, it means you're ready. Don't look at challenges through the eyes of fear. See them as gentle teachers. Every difficulty carries a hidden gift, sometimes patience, sometimes surrender, sometimes simply a reminder that you've wandered too far from your own truth. The universe doesn't want you tougher. It wants you truer so your natural strength can shine without the armor. And then, as you start to realize that every disruption carries divine order within it, your heart softens. You understand that nothing is working against you. Life is only guiding you back to the place where you truly belong. Like a river that finds its way to the sea, no matter how many stones it meets, the universe is leading you home, back to your own flow. You may not see the full path yet, but if you listen deeply, you'll notice the small signs, a chance conversation, a strange dream, the calm in someone's eyes that makes you feel safe. That's how the universe says, I'm here. And when your heart grows quiet enough to truly listen, you'll sense a subtle movement taking place, gentle as a breath, yet powerful enough to change everything. A movement that opens a new road, where the winds begin to shift, and the silence you've lived with so long finally starts to stir. The morning begins with a strange kind of light, not too bright, not too dim, just enough to make you realize that something is shifting not in the world outside, but within you. It feels like standing by a quiet river, hearing the soft sound of water changing direction, knowing something has begun to move, even if your eyes can't yet see it. Everything around you looks the same, yet somehow it isn't. Maybe you've just noticed a small opportunity, a message, an unexpected invitation, or maybe it's only a quiet intuition that makes your heart tremble for a moment. But whatever it is, it carries the energy of motion, a new current of life rising after a long season of stillness. Like a garden after winter, tiny sprouts begin to push through the cold ground. Can you feel it? Beneath all the worry and noise, Something is quietly coming alive again. This is the moment you learn to act from desire, not fear. Not because you have something to prove to the world, but because you've grown wise enough to know if you don't do what makes you feel alive, then no matter what you achieve, you'll still feel empty inside. The universe is giving you a chance to shift, to step out of your old comfort zone, to choose a life driven by joy instead of obligation. Yet, as your light grows stronger, a subtle truth begins to appear. Not everyone will be ready to receive your glow. Some will smile and celebrate you, but behind their eyes there may be a trace of envy, a little distance, even a quiet discomfort they can't explain. Someone once close may become silent. Someone you trusted may turn away just when you thought they'd stay. Don't blame them. Light isn't guilty of anything. Sometimes, the moment you start standing tall, your strength reminds others of the places in themselves they've been avoiding. When you step into your light, their shadows become clearer. And not everyone is ready to see that. If you've ever felt lonely while you were growing, that's only natural. Every upward path grows quieter near the top. But from that height, you begin to see more clearly yourself, your journey, and how everything truly moves together. You realize no one was ever really against you. They were only wrestling with the parts of themselves they hadn't yet accepted. Keep shining gently but firmly, because real light never asks for permission to exist. It just is. And your quiet persistence becomes a reminder to the world that no one needs permission to live honestly. You don't have to dim your brightness to make others comfortable. Instead, let your kindness and authenticity become a mirror that helps others remember their own light. The moment you stop worrying about who understands you is the moment your energy truly changes, and life begins to respond with small doors opening, new people arriving, and subtle, meaningful signs appearing everywhere. A message, a meeting, an opportunity at just the right time, each one a signal that you're finally moving in rhythm with your own truth. Take a deep breath. Let it pass through you like a stream flowing through a rock that's been closed for too long. Feel how this new energy softens the hardened corners of your soul. You're beginning to move again, no longer trapped in the past, no longer letting fear decide your direction. And as your mind grows still, everything that's meant for you will begin to find you. Like the wind changing seasons, something deeper is coming closer. It doesn't rush. It doesn't shout, it simply fills the air, gentle but certain. A wave of emotion forming, carrying questions your heart has been too quiet to ask. And in that silence there is a small voice, and if you listen closely enough, you'll hear it, coming toward you, softly, like a meeting your soul has known was destined all along. There are days when your heart feels like a still lake, and then, out of nowhere, ripples appear small, quiet, but impossible to ignore. A familiar name, a forgotten memory, a feeling you thought had gone to sleep all return at once, soft as a breath, yet enough to make your heart tremble. Somewhere out there, someone still hasn't forgotten you. They pretend to be fine, to live their own life, saying words that sound detached, and yet, just the mention of your name, just the memory of your voice, their heartbeat falters for half a second. There are invisible threads between two souls, unseen but unbroken, still pulling gently toward each other, even when both have tried to let go. At the same time, another energy is approaching, new, warm, quietly alive. It feels like a morning ray slipping through a half-opened window, making you blink, surprised and unsure. This energy carries the scent of a beginning, someone, or something, that makes your heart beat differently. It isn't loud, it isn't urgent. It's simply a whisper that says, it's time to open your heart again. Between these two forces, you stand at the crossroads of your heart. One side feels safe, familiar, predictable, a rhythm you've known by heart. The other side is unknown, risky, but full of promise. And it's hard, because the heart doesn't follow the logic of the mind. It doesn't calculate. It only longs to live, to feel, to love. Your soul knows this. It doesn't want to exist in memories anymore. It wants to be alive in this moment, where emotions are real, where faith still breathes. You may have told yourself, I don't want to love again. I don't want to be hurt again. But deep inside, a small part of you still wants to believe. Because the true nature of the heart isn't to close, it's to learn to love wiser, deeper, and more tenderly. That's the quiet lesson of those who've been broken, not to fear love, but to love with greater grace. The confusion you feel right now isn't weakness. It's proof your heart is still alive. Only those who have truly loved, lost, and risen from the ashes can understand the sacred value of real feeling. Don't rush to choose with your mind. Sometimes what you need isn't an answer. It's the courage to listen to the whisper inside your chest. Some choices can't be explained, only felt. And every time you follow your feelings, even if you're trembling, you step closer to yourself. Because the soul doesn't care about right or wrong, it only wants to experience, to grow, to love completely. If you find yourself caught between two people, two directions, two emotions, pause. Sit still, breathe deeply, and listen to the silence between your heartbeats. In that stillness, you'll see something simple. No one truly belongs to anyone. Every person appears right on time to show us a piece of ourselves we've forgotten. The one from the past teaches you forgiveness. The new one teaches you to open again. Both are messengers of the universe, arriving just when your soul is ready to evolve. And once you understand this, you stop fearing loss. You start feeling gratitude because everyone who has touched your life has left behind a small piece of light. So, you'll never have to walk through the darkness alone again. In the world of emotions, there is no winning or losing, only lessons, only souls meeting for healing. And when you begin to see love as a path of healing, not a hunt for completion, your heart becomes lighter, wider, and full of compassion. Tonight, if you feel confused, let it be like the wind. Don't try to hold it. Don't rush to define it. The wind knows where to take you when you're calm enough to let go. And maybe, just maybe, in that moment, between pain and tenderness, between memory and beginning, you'll finally hear what life has been trying to say to you all along. Sometimes, the things that hurt us the most are the very things strong enough to wake us up. My dear Aries, there are nights when you lie awake wondering why everything had to happen this way, why the one you trusted walked away, why the things you gave your whole heart to turned to smoke. But then, when the first light of the morning touches your window, you realize this. No matter how many times your world has fallen apart, your heart still beats. It's still here, loyal to life itself, even after being torn open. And that's where the lesson begins. The universe doesn't teach through words, it teaches through cracks. Every time you think you've hit bottom, it shows you there's more beneath, not to frighten you, but to remind you that you've never been abandoned. Because with every heartbreak, you learn to love yourself more deeply. You learn to rise not because someone is waiting for you, but because your soul deserves to live. Some wounds aren't healed by time, but by understanding. When you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Pain turns into a patient teacher. It doesn't scold. It doesn't punish. It simply waits, showing you gently that every loss carries a hidden message of love. Think back to the moments you thought you couldn't make it through, when you cried, when you shook, when you wanted to give up. And yet, you didn't. That wasn't luck. That was the fire inside you, the fire even pain couldn't extinguish. The fire of survival, of kindness, of your quiet desire to become better than before. You're learning to stand between light and shadow without losing yourself. To stop denying the dark within you, because only when you face it can you truly understand the light. Peace doesn't come when life stops storming. It comes when you learn to breathe through the storm, when you realize that everything is temporary, and in that impermanence, you are growing with every single breath. The world outside can be loud, judgmental, demanding. But you don't need to run anymore. Allow yourself to slow down, to listen. Sometimes, it's only in the silence that you can hear the voice of your soul. It doesn't shout, but it's clear. It tells you, everything has its reason. You're on the right path. You don't have to be strong all the time. You just have to be honest with what you feel. When you let your tears fall, they don't make you weak. They wash away what's old, so something new can grow. Like rain falling on the earth, not to destroy it, but to plant life again. If today you find yourself in the middle of a storm, remember this: every storm has a calm center, a quiet eye, a place where you can breathe, look around, and remember that you're still here. And as long as you're here, you can begin again. You may not see it yet, but what seems to be falling apart is really falling into place, making room for something better. Like an old house being torn down, so a stronger foundation can be built. Pain never comes to trap you, it comes to set you free. And when you begin to understand this, everything inside you shifts. You stop resisting, you stop forcing. Life begins to soften, like a lake after the rain, still, clear, reflecting the open sky. And it's in that stillness, that quiet surrender, where life begins to move again, where new currents rise within you, in your work, your faith, your very heartbeat. Everything you once thought had ended is just beginning to flow again. One quiet morning, as the first light pours through your window, you sense something has changed. It isn't quite joy, nor is it worry, just a subtle vibration, like an invisible door slowly opening somewhere in your life. No one knocks, no one warns you, but deep inside, you know the universe is beginning to answer. Every prayer you whispered in those long, silent nights is finding its way back to you, in the shape of new beginnings. Maybe it's an unexpected job offer, a message, a phone call, or simply that quiet feeling that something is finally moving again. But this time, it's different, because you've changed. You're no longer waiting for miracles to save you. You're ready to become the miracle yourself. The universe never makes you wait in vain. It waits until you're calm enough to hear, steady enough to receive, and grateful enough to keep. When you learn to send your energy toward what gives life, instead of holding on to what's already run dry, everything begins to shift. Like a river after a long drought, you find your way back to the sea. Look at money, work, and success as energy, not rewards, but reflections of your own vibration. When you act from fear, you create outcomes that are rushed and fragile. But when you act from trust and inspiration, the world responds with stability, peace, and abundance. My dear Aries, you're standing at a rare crossroads, the place where everything you've learned, endured, and believed begins to align into strength. Don't doubt the changes that arrive suddenly. The truth is, the universe never forgets the brave. It simply waits for the perfect moment to whisper, "It's time," to live the dream you've been carrying inside. Let the work you do carry the breath of your soul. Let what you create be not just for you, but a quiet gift to the world. When your work comes from the heart, money stops being an obsession. It becomes a natural flow, moving in and out like breath. And then you realize what you've been chasing all along wasn't money. It was freedom. Trust that what you send out will return, maybe not in the form you expect, but always in the way you need. The universe knows you better than you think. It knows when you need challenge to grow and when you need blessing to keep going. And today, it's offering you both movement and expansion. If you've been asking for a sign, this is it. Every door is beginning to open. Every wall is beginning to soften. You don't need to leap, just take one honest step. Follow what feels peaceful, because peace is the clearest compass your soul can give you. And as you move forward with gratitude, you'll begin to notice new people appearing, new opportunities forming, doors unfolding one after another, as if the world itself is saying, "Welcome home." Because life always responds to the energy of life, and right now, you are more alive than ever before. Sometimes, Change doesn't come from a dramatic twist, but from one small, quiet choice made with the heart. When you choose faith over fear, giving over holding, feeling over judging, life begins to tilt in your favor. And in that gentle current, what comes next won't be a test but an expansion. A moment when your heart touches a deeper layer of love, and you finally understand that every movement in the outer world was always guiding you back home, to yourself. When the heart begins to open, the world around you seems to change too. Everything feels clearer, softer, and somehow more real. The familiar sounds, the old faces, the streets you've walked 100 times, they suddenly carry a different feeling, as if behind the thin mist of reality, something quiet is beginning to move, something invisible, yet deeply felt. Somewhere out there, someone still hasn't forgotten you. They hold you in silence, like a small flame on a cold night too afraid to blow it out, yet not brave enough to make it burn brighter. Every time they hear your name, their heart skips. It's not about possession anymore, it's remembrance, a longing for the part of themselves that only awoke when you were near. And maybe another soul is walking toward you now, not loud, not rushed, carrying the gentle warmth of a new beginning, the kind of love that feels peaceful rather than dizzying, steady rather than consuming. Between these two currents, you're being invited into a deeper lesson. This time, it's not about choosing who to love, but how you want to show up as yourself in love. Do you want to keep loving from fear, the fear of loss, the need to be seen, the ache of old wounds, or do you want to love from wholeness, from compassion, from the light of someone who finally understands that love isn't a place to seek something, but a place to give? When we love from lack, we cling, we worry, we doubt. But when we love from fullness, love becomes a flow, effortless, generous, free. Love stops being the way we fill a void and becomes the way we grow together. And you know, the ones who made you cry weren't always the wrong ones. Sometimes, they were sent only to open your heart to remind you that you can still feel, still love after everything. Love never promised to spare you from pain. It only teaches you how to hurt without closing, how to forgive without forgetting, how to stay true to yourself, even when someone else walks away. Because what's most precious in love isn't who stayed, it's who you became after you loved, after you lost, after your heart softened without breaking. Maybe you once thought you loved the wrong person, but truly, no love is ever wrong. Some relationships are meant to pull you deeper, so you can learn to save yourself. Others are meant to lift you higher, to show you your worth through someone else's eyes. Every encounter carries a mirror, and if you dare to look, you'll see your own soul staring back at you. Love is the most honest mirror there is. It shows you where you are on your journey of becoming. It exposes your fears, your need to control, your ego, but it also reveals your grace, your tenderness, your ability to love without condition, in ways you never thought you could. If you're in love now, let it teach you, don't let it shrink you. If you're alone, let this silence teach you how to love yourself first, because only when you love yourself can you truly love someone without losing who you are. Look back on your journey and smile. Love has changed you, made you deeper, made your heart softer but not weaker. It's taught you that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to love even when you know it might hurt. And when you love with an open heart, you begin to understand that love never really ends when someone leaves. It simply changes form from attachment to gratitude, from pain to light. In this very moment, if you feel something shifting inside you, trust that it's your soul growing. Because once a heart has opened, it can never return to its old shape. It becomes wider, warmer, and more ready than ever to welcome what's next, a new chapter, where love is no longer a test, but an awakening. The world around you is changing, and so are you. The things that once made you feel safe no longer carry the same meaning. The people who once walked beside you may now have taken different paths. Even when you look at yourself in the mirror, you notice it, those eyes are still yours, but the way they see has changed, softer, deeper, and somehow truer. Nothing is random. When life begins to shake, it's not because the universe wants to take from you, it's because it's time for you to move forward. What's familiar can become a cage. The universe doesn't remove things to punish you. It clears the way for something new, something better, something you once prayed for but weren't yet ready to receive. Look around you, the signs are everywhere. An old friend reaches out. An unexpected opportunity opens. A stranger crosses your path and, for a moment, your heart pauses. These are not coincidences. They're whispers from the universe saying, you're on the right path. You're being called back to your true purpose, not to become someone else, but to return to yourself, a version that's awake, alive, and unafraid. This version doesn't need approval, doesn't need to prove anything. It simply lives in the light within. And when you do that, you don't just change your life, you light the way for others. Many people think awakening comes like lightning, but in truth, it arrives quietly in the small, ordinary moments. When you forgive someone without hearing, "I'm sorry." When you stop chasing what no longer fits. When you choose peace instead of being right. It's in those subtle choices that your soul begins to lead. Awakening doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means learning to listen, truly listen to your own voice. You stop being swept away by the noise of the crowd. Stop trembling before every choice. Instead, you begin to feel a current, a subtle energy inside that knows where to go, even when the mind doesn't understand. Let your intuition be your new companion. When you stay quiet long enough, you'll hear a gentle message. Don't be afraid. You are not alone. Everything is aligning for you. And then, you'll begin to notice new people entering your life, not by chance, but as if their souls have known you forever. They bring calm, encouragement, or simply a look that tells you you're not lost. This is the moment to be brave, to step out of the comfort zone, even with trembling legs, because comfort never births miracles. Miracles come when you dare to believe that something better is waiting ahead. If you're hearing this now, remember the fire within you never went out. It's just been waiting for you to breathe it back to life. The world needs your light, not anyone else's. Let your kindness touch someone today, a word, a smile, a small act of grace. Because in giving your light, you'll remember it was never gone. And one morning, as the sun rises, you'll notice something extraordinary. Life no longer feels like a battle to survive. It becomes a gentle flow, a rhythm of trust. Things come and go, like breath, like the tide, like your own heartbeat. In that quietness, something begins to bloom, a new chapter of your soul. The light no longer comes from outside, but from within, tender, steady, and real. And when you see that, you finally understand you were never lost, because you, dear one, have always been the path. My dear Aries, everything you've been through, the sweet and the bitter, carries a sacred purpose. The universe never sends you pain without a gift hidden inside it. You may not see it right away, but every tear you've shed has watered the seeds of your growth, and every crack in your heart has become a doorway for the light to enter. When you look back, smile softly, because now you've stepped out of the whirlpool of fear and doubt, and you're standing in the light of awareness and love. You didn't give up. You chose to walk through instead of turning away. And that quiet courage is what the universe honors most. Thank you for listening with your heart, for allowing this journey to touch your soul. May you keep walking in the light of peace, and may the flame within you always burn gently, steadily, and full of compassion.